Hello, this is Shauna from the Foil Fox, and I'm here on the Paper Tray Ink YouTube channel, and I'm demonstrating a brand new stamp set called Floral Paradise. But to begin, let me show you a Just Sentiments that's brand new. It's Happy Hello, has wonderful hello sentiments to go with it. And then here's the Floral Paradise. It is Birds of Paradise, actually. The wonderful flower with its leaves, and then it has a matching die set, of course, to cut out the flowers and leaves. Then the other item I'm going to be using is Border Basics rectangle die that cuts a wonderful wide frame. The papers I'm going to be using are a little piece of green parakeet, a white cardstock. This is a white cardstock card base, and then here's an A2 panel, and then more white cardstock. So I'm going to take that, this is the card base, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to take the A2 panel and I'm going to cut out this frame. Now that that's cut out, I'm going to take it out of its die and set that aside for now. You can see how all those pieces came together. And then I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to cut out all of these pieces. Now, you've seen me do this many times before. I'm putting repositionable tape around the perimeter and a tiny bit on each of the elements. And I'm going to stick it into my stamp positioner because I want to use the negative space for my holder. And then we'll stamp all the positive, all the leaves and the flowers. So I'm going to start out with the leaves with the long stem. There are other pieces to the leaves and you'll see those. But I'm going to start out with these in the stem. I'm using New Leaf and I'm going to ink this up a few times because I want it to be a little bit darker. Now you'll notice that when I am inking this up that it does stamp out the veining, but there is other stamps that have the veining that I'll be using, and we'll see those in just one moment. So let's look at those veining ones. They're right. Well, first let's jump over. I forgot that we have another new leaf area, and this is the long stem of the flowers. Now I'm going to just be demonstrating one flower of each size and one leaf of each size, but I am going to be doing a bunch more off camera. So I'm using New Leaf again and stamping those stems that look kind of like hockey sticks right now. And then I'm going to, there's lots of pieces to this, but I'm going to use this long slender piece and that kind of long rectangle piece. And they're going to fit into each of these flowers. Now you'll see when I stamp this how that fits in there. It just kind of fills in that area. Now I'm going to be using these, go back to these leaves because I want to put in the pine feather. I'm kind of jumping around, I know, and I apologize for that. But this has the veining. Now you're supposed to fit it in right into where that white veining is on these leaves, and that is a task. So on one of them I came pretty close, on the other not so close, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm using pine feather here, and I'm stamping those, and you'll see, you know, one it works out pretty well. The other one you still see white, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to take a small blending brush and I'm just going to rub on some ink, and you'll never know the difference. The pine feather is dark enough, it holds up to it, so it's no problem at all. And now it's all filled in. I'm going to set those aside and go back to our flowers now. And so I have these pieces that there's a little tiny sliver that fits into the one and a triangle piece on the other. The little small flower gets the triangle piece, and then this other one gets that long slender kind of hook like one. There are two other pieces that have kind of a little hole, a little empty spot in it. It's not those, it's this one that's just kind of has a little bit of a hook, and then the triangular piece. And I am stamping those with a raspberry fizz. if you look at the flowers of Bird of Paradise, you see it has these little slivers of color. Now I'm going to use those pieces that have the little dot or eyelet in it. And the big flower gets the one that has kind of a right angle point to it at the bottom. The other one, the smaller flower, gets just the long slender one. That one has, this one right here has the little point to it. This is the bigger flower. And I'm going to stamp these with Amethyst Allure. I'm going to stamp them a couple of times. This is what makes this flower so interesting, that it has these little shoots that come out that are so vibrant. Now I'm going to use the big part of the flower, which of course is more of a really bright orange. I used Summer Sunrise, but Orange Zest probably would have been a good choice too. You probably wouldn't have had to stamp it twice and it would have turned out virtually the same. So you can use either one. I will put both in the supply list. Now you can see I did a bunch of flowers and a bunch of leaves, and I have that green parakeet on top of my card base. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, and I'm glue it down right in the center. And then I have foam on the back of my wide frame. I'm going to just peel off the release tape and put that in position. The biggest impact of this card, of course, is the leaves and the flowers, and so that's what takes the most time. Now I'm just going to be arranging this like I often do when I have a floral arrangement. I have to become a florist, and I just arrange these around. And if you look at the Bird of Paradise flower or plant, it has leaves kind of going in different directions, mostly upward, but in different directions. And then these big blossoms kind of shooting out from there. Now it has these stems on them. Some of them I'll leave. Some of them I'm just going to trim off. Whatever is going to work for my design. And I have a little tiny bit of foam tape on these that I put on, and then take the release tape and just position them in. So I have an idea where they go, trimming off these stems wherever necessary. And you have to kind of take a mental picture when you do that first kind of arranging, just to get an idea how they work. And I'm mixing the slender leaf in the fatter one. And now we'll put in these Birds of Paradise, but I'm going to hide some of these stems, and some of them are going to end up being trimmed. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam just on the flower, and you can see I'm tucking them underneath these leaves so we don't see all of the stem, because it gets a little too much otherwise. And now I'll continue on with a few more of these leaves. I do have a few more leaves than I need, but you will see that I will use them not in this video, but perhaps in another one. So I just have to decide how to tuck that one in. Now that that's all done, we're nearly done. We just have to put a sentiment, and I'm using that happy hello, and these are all filled with hellos, and all of them would be appropriate, but I'm just going to go really simple and do the little hello. I have a piece of acetate there that I put over it, just to make sure that it's all the way I want it to look, where I want it to, in the straight. And that then with some VersaFine black onyx ink, because I love how crisp and wonderful it is for sentiments, because it doesn't blur your sentiment at all. It's just so nice and crisp. So there it is, all done, and I just love how it turned out. But I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to put an inside greeting, because there's an inside greeting, happy hello, and these are great sentiments too. I have a piece of green parakeet. I have chosen the top sentiment, but I could have chosen any of them. I've inked it up with VersaFine ink. Again, it's very crisp and clean, and it stamps these beautifully. But I'm going to take these long stemmed leaves again with the new leaf ink, and I'm just going to stamp these just to have an extra little oomph inside the card. I think stamping these leaves really add to the inside of this card, and I'm just stamping them with that new leaf. And then I've used some repositionable tape, and isn't that lovely? Just completes the card. Now here it is again, and you see those wonderful, bright, vibrant blossoms just popping out over these really beautiful green leaves. And if you look at actual pictures of the birds of paradise, you see they're very bright green leaves. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And here are the few items we use: the Floral Paradise Stamp and Die Set, the Border Basics rectangle die, Just Sentiments Happy Hello, Inside Greetings Happy Hello. And you can check out all of these at blog.inktopaper.com, or you can go to papertrayink.com, or go to foilfox.com, where we have all the supplies for everything here, plus loads more inspiration. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Bye.